Yo, what's going on? It is 1 p.m. here in Crystal Lake, Illinois. It means it's time for another live stream. Today is... Okay, I think we're back. I don't know what's going on. This is the second time that's happened to me now where the microphone just cut out like 30 seconds, not even 30 seconds, 5 seconds into it. But it is 1 p.m. here in Crystal Lake, Illinois. It means time for another live stream. Today is Monday, March 16th, 2026. Good news, guys. I'm feeling a lot better. I'm not 100% compared to where I was last Thursday. I also haven't run since last Thursday. So I took a lot of days off. But also, I was out of town for the weekend with my daughter. I'll talk to you guys about it a little more. And we have some unboxings on today's show, or one unboxing on today's show, which is a shoe that I think some of you have been really waiting for. So I think it should be interesting. But before we get into that, let's say hi to everyone listening on the audio-only version, on the podcast. Maybe you're digging out from the snowstorm. And if you are listening to this while you are shoveling or got the snowblower going, hopefully that doesn't all blow back in your face because it's windy out there. Hopefully you stay nice and comfy. And for everyone else watching this later but not live, welcome to the #1 drive time radio show for runners that is neither aired at drive time nor on the radio. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, Johnny Dodgen says, sound like you have a cold. I still do a little bit. It's a lot better than it was on Thursday. Thursday, I was struggling pretty hard. I was going to go for a run. I didn't. Then Friday, I was going to go for a run. But then I had a lot of work to do as well. So between that, I was like, let's just skip it today. And then I was going to run Saturday and Sunday. But Saturday and Sunday, I was in Minneapolis. My daughter had a competition to go to, so we were up there. Yeah, and it went well. My daughter had a good time up there. And we made it home safely, even though there was a blizzard. They got the blizzard like the day before we got the blizzard. So we were able to navigate safely. They had to start the competition 2 hours later on Sunday. It was a 2-day competition. Sunday was a 2-hour late start, but I think everyone made it to it at the event and back from the event safely. So all good. But, it has me thinking about, I guess to start on the somber note, I've been thinking a lot about what's been going on in Minneapolis, Twin Cities area, specifically regarding ice and what I've been doing with my Instagram account. And I think it's time to not move on isn't the right word. It feels like I'm just moving on. I know there's still things happening with ice in Minnesota. But I feel like it's time to kind of resume some semblance of normalcy on the Instagram. So if that's okay with everybody, that's what's going to happen. I think I'll still probably post updates, but I'll move that to the story. So I'll switch. I've been doing what I'm at, like my real life in stories and leaving the main feed for ice updates and commentary. And I think I'm probably just going to switch it, go back to regular-ish, mostly regular posting on the main feed on Instagram. So I think I feel like job's not done, but I feel like it's time to, I got to figure out a way to kind of live with this now, I guess, at least until bigger changes can happen. All right. Mark says, you were here and didn't say anything. I know I did. I was there. I was going to reach out, but one, I knew the blizzard was coming, and two, I was there with my daughter, and the rest of my family didn't come, so I couldn't sneak away. It was just me and my daughter. So I couldn't leave her unattended at all. Because otherwise I would have come. I was thinking, I was like, I got a lot of shoes that I think you could use. I was going to bring you a bunch, but it was going to be a really tight schedule. But I will be back up in Minneapolis soon, so I'll see you soon. All right. Coco Adelmo says, "Yo, what's going on, everyone from Philippines? Hopefully you're on to full recovery. Co. Be well soon." Yeah, I think so. I think in 2 days. I think you're going to hear it in my voice, especially coming through the podcast mic coming through for maybe one more live stream. Hopefully not more than that, but I'm going to go for a run on the treadmill today. But then I will probably resume workouts tomorrow. I feel ready. I was going to go for a run outside today because the roads are clear. We didn't get it that bad down here. They closed schools last night, which I thought was interesting. And then we ended up getting a few inches of snow. It came down hard, and it's been very windy. Stuff's blowing around. A lot of stuff iced over because it had been kind of warm before it snowed. So maybe there was more to it than what it appears. But now it seems to have stopped snowing. I already just shoveled the driveway. I got the electric snow blower out. Which, man, I do not like that tool. But I got it done. And so we're already moving on. But I think since I'm still recovering from this cold, I'm just going to hit the treadmill again today, even though I really do not want to be on the treadmill. Fred Nava says, I did a torturous 8K on the treadmill Saturday at the local 24-hour fitness. Yeah, it sounds like a long time on the treadmill. But, if you're at 24-hour fitness, maybe at least there's some other people there to keep you company, maybe. For me, like going, I like running. I don't know. Sometimes I really like having a treadmill at the house, but I also do run at treadmills other places too. And sometimes I'm like, I know we're not hanging out, but it makes it feel less kind of depressing when I'm not doing it in the corner by myself, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, Mark Johnson says, I feel you. I haven't run since last Wednesday, hoping my congestion clears up enough tomorrow so I can get back at it and not go crazy. Oh, so here's the other thing that I want to talk about last time. Is with this cold and taking a couple of days off, I was really antsy about it on last Thursday. And mainly because I wanted to test the Phage 6 Elite. And I have like kind of a schedule in my mind of when I need to test certain shoes so I can make the video by certain days, and I have kind of a programming calendar built out. But like last week when I was in, was it last week? Yeah, I think last week or the week before when I was in LA, I got there on Wednesday with enough time planning that I would check into the hotel and then go for a run, and that would be my Wednesday run. Because I could have, I guess, gotten in later and gotten in my run here, but I was like, wow, if I have the choice of, after the kids, if I get the kids to school, which is, usually my job, and then go, I'd have time to run in LA where it's going to be nice and sunny and warm. Or I could have like gone for a run here, and then maybe my wife would have to pick up the slack, but I was already going to be gone for a few days anyway. So I was like, why not just pick the LA run? But when I got to LA, the hotel wasn't ready for a really long time. I got there at like 1:30, maybe 2:30. And I'm thinking at the latest, the room's going to be ready at like 4 o'clock is check-in. But like, for whatever reason, I couldn't get into my hotel room until like 7 o'clock at night. And by then it's already dark and we're going to run the next morning. And I'm like, So for the next like 3 hours, I'm like wandering around Santa Monica and I'm like super annoyed about it. I'm like, I want to go for my run because I'm excited. I want to go run by the beach, But part of me is like, am I having a hard time with not exercising on a day that I was supposed to exercise? Is my relationship with running maybe unhealthy? So I was thinking about that a lot, because even when I was like, oh, well, if I check into my room at 6, I can go jog for 30 minutes and then that'll be good. I'm like, what do I need to jog 30 minutes for? What is that going to really do, in the big scheme of things? So I was getting really nervous about it. I'm like, I think maybe I have a problem, or maybe I need to like just, reset my relationship with running in a slightly more healthy way, So I'm like, I ended up not being able to run that day anyway, but I'm like, I'm not going to run. And I'm going to have to be like wrap my head around it. And I'm not sure if that's a unhealthy relationship with exercise thing or unhealthy relationship with I had a plan and I want to stick to my plan kind of thing. But either way. Yeah. Yeah. All right. James SP says, so just to put up on that. So the last few days when I was like kind of still sick, and thinking, oh, well, I'll just hop on the treadmill today. Like my daughter's competition, she's going to need some time to recover. We'll be at the hotel. I can just go to the gym. So I'm still not leaving her unattended. And then I can but I'm like, you know what? I was kind of coughing last night, and maybe I need to like reaffirm to myself that I can quit whenever I want to, kind of thing. So I feel like, okay, maybe it's more about me and having a hard time being rigid with my schedule. I think the not exercising thing is fine. I think I'm good on that. But I thought about it, so there. Yeah. Vanessa says about what I was talking about with how I'm treating my social media. She says, you can move on if you want. Grief has no time restrictions or limits, and we are all grieving in some way. Unprocessed trauma, the social/political divide, etc. Bandage heart emoji. Well, I appreciate that, Vanessa. We're all figuring out ways to survive, right? And I appreciate the support. Runner Willis here says, hi, everyone. And Senior Grandmaster Runner Dan says, when I was younger, I felt guilty if I did not run. Yeah, I mean, I feel guilty about it too when I don't run. And the reason for the guilt has changed over time. A lot of it was, I was supposed to, coach said to, and I said I would, and I didn't. So that was the thing. And then for a while it wasn't so much guilt, more fear, because I had left running for a long time. And then when I came back, I was like, all right, well, I don't want to lose it again. So I got to keep it up. So it was always a kind of a fear of disconnecting with it. And then now I think it's more just, I have a schedule. I have, things I need to do, and I don't like it when things interfere with the plan. And maybe I'm becoming inflexible in my age. All right. Mark wants to know, what hotel did we stay at? We stayed at one of the many Holiday Inns we were over by we were in Bloomington, so we weren't really in Minneapolis. Day one of the competition was in Bloomington. Day two was in Minneapolis proper. But my wife booked the hotel in Bloomington. So, yeah. So I also wanted to go and visit some of the restaurants and stuff that have been affected pretty hard, but I'm like, it's not a good time to do that. My daughter is pretty, not picky, but she has a somewhat narrow range of foods that we can safely eat. And for a competition, I don't think she'd want to take any risks. So we ate Chipotle most of the time, which is all right. And then we ate food at the mall. So that, not the greatest. We had the Great Mall of America experience, I guess, but maybe not a great Minneapolis experience. I'm saving that for next time, All right. Adam wants to talk about the 2:10:53. I think that it's an exciting marathon debut. Fastest marathon debut ever. Second fastest marathon time ever, right? And I think that I was reading the Fast Women newsletter today, and I think Allison Wade has the best take on it, which not surprising. I respect her opinions and insights so much. And she was like, when you talk about a debut that fast, and in any event, any marathon that fast, there's going to be discussions about doping that come up. And the question she posed was like, how slow would be slow enough to not have that question raised from a fast marathon debut? 2:14, 2:16. So it's like, you want to be excited about things, but it's so hard to be excited about things. And I feel like she has the opinion or the kind of the stance that a lot of people have, which maybe is a little bit naive, or knowingly naive. Is that a word? She knows it's maybe naive, but she wants to adopt it anyway. Saying unless there's proof otherwise, you're going to assume that someone is clean. And she's getting it flack for that too. Maybe rightfully so, maybe not. I don't know. But yeah, it's an exciting debut time. I didn't see the Barcelona race, but what I did think about and what I wanted to talk about is is this how, so I'm seeing all these races. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I went to Valencia finally. Maybe it's because I'm following more Spanish-speaking Instagram accounts. But I'm seeing so many more of the races that are happening in Spain that happen to be over the winter, early spring. And I'm realizing, is this how everyone in Europe and the UK have been surviving winters all this time? You just go down to Spain every 3 weeks for a race? Because that makes a lot of sense. That's a good way. I was having a conversation with someone saying Midwest winters are really hard. But if you can find a way to escape every 4 weeks, once a month, it's not cheap. But if you could do that and go somewhere warm, it makes the winters bearable, a lot more bearable, Normally I leave in January to go to a warm race, whether it's in like Miami or Florida or something like, well, Miami's Florida, other parts of Florida. This year I didn't, but I did go to Black Canyon, and then just having like to know that, I only got to go 4 weeks and then there's a warm weekend and then another 4 weeks, another warm weekend makes it a lot more bearable, Yeah, a lot of good running news. But anyway, going back to Barcelona, because it's like it starts in like October or November, right? Because there's like, when is the Valencia half? There's like the Valencia half, then there's Valencia, then like when is Seville? There's a Barcelona half. Wasn't there a Barcelona half and then a Barcelona marathon, or is that this all the same weekend? I don't know. It just seems like every 2 weeks there's like a Valencia 10K. There's another warm weather race that all the Europeans are going to. And I'm like, I don't know, maybe I need to get on that schedule too. Jason, wants to know about hablas español. Not really. Anyone who has traveled international with me knows that I definitely cannot really speak that much Spanish. I can kind of understand a little. I took a lot of Spanish in high school, and I took some in college too. But so I can understand like a little bit. But once native speakers start going at native speaker language speed, I kind of get lost a little bit. Yeah, it's embarrassing. I should know more. All right. Terry says, it never really gets cold in the UK. I haven't needed leggings once this winter. Yeah, but you guys, people in the UK are still making it out to those warmer weather races, and I'm very jealous. And the first time I went to Malaga, there's like, what is it, the half marathon in Malaga? That's in the winter. The first time I went to Malaga, people were like, yeah, this is like the Florida for us Europeans. And I'm like, oh, okay, interesting. And that's the first time I didn't fly. I don't think I flew Ryanair. Did I fly Ryanair? No, I don't think I flew Ryanair. But when I was at the airport, definitely like half the airport was Irish. Or I don't know. Sometimes the accents kind of mix in my mind. Could have been other parts of the north. But and I know those are very different. But to my American ear, sometimes I get confused if I'm hearing things kind of in crowd noise. So like that's when the idea kind of percolated to me. But then just seeing all the different races from this winter, I'm like, everyone's going like every 3 weeks. All right. Is it Ali Yeji? I don't know how to say that one. It says, in other debut news, did you see Grant Fisher's half marathon debut flop? I felt bad for him. 1 hour, 50 something seconds, and is only good enough for 14th. I don't think that's a flop, but I also think that he wanted better. Because I remember when Morgan McDonald ran his marathon in like 61 low, right? He was disappointed with that. And I'm like, I don't know how you could be disappointed with like a 61. That's pretty fast, dude. I didn't say it that way to him, but I was like, it's not that bad. And then over time, he was like, maybe it wasn't so bad for debut. I could do better, But given that he is like he's an Olympic medalist in the 10,000, right? So like, flop is a hard word, but I think that's good. It's good. And I mean, remember, the New York City half marathon is not flat. It's a hilly. It's not Houston. So like I feel like an hour is pretty good. Closer to 60. It's 60 minutes high, sure, but I think it's fine. Is it a flop? I'm not sure if it's a flop, but I think that the 14th place goes to show that this was a really competitive field. Rory Linkletter ran 59 something, and he came in 7th, right? So is that a flop for him? He didn't love the result, but like it's really fast. It's really fast, and I don't think that like the placings are indicative of where. Like how fast that is. It just means that the competition was really good. Ali says he seemed, really sad in the post race. Yeah, for sure. I think he wanted to do better. Would he say it's a flop? Maybe he would. But I also feel like, I don't know. These races are hard. You got to give people some time to figure it out. He's still I don't know. I feel like he's still pretty young, but I guess I'm just not good at knowing what people's ages are anymore. So I feel like there's plenty of time for him to figure it out, you know? Oh, okay. Frank says Rory was 1 hour. Okay, sorry. Either way, 59. Are you sure? I thought I saw it say it was 59 something. Or maybe that was it? I don't know. I'm confused. I didn't look at the results too closely. I just scrolled Instagram. But, yeah. Right in that range. But Ali says, fair point, flop was a harsh term. I mean, I get what you're saying, though. His disappointment, Would I have loved to have seen him come out there and, like, just really crush? I mean, I feel like he kind of did crush, but crush according to whatever his goals and standards were. Yeah, I would have loved him to have been like, this was a great race. It was really hard. I had a lot of guys to compete with that kept driving me forward, and I would have liked to finish higher, but it was a great day. That's the interview you want to see, right? Because that's exciting for American distance running. But I think there's time. Yeah, Paul Bullock just compared Grant's debut and a half to Jakob's. That was. I mean, I feel like that's how. But I mean, that's how the half marathon debut should go. You know what I mean? I feel like it should be a little bit like, see, us, like us road runners we got something. It's not so easy. You guys want to talk about race results a lot today, which I actually watched some racing. Adam wants to talk about the NCAA indoor finals, which I watched some. I haven't watched all of them yet, and I've of course watched a lot of results on Instagram. But I'm talking about the Hoptum Samuel DQ in the 3000, in the final lap of the women's mile. Near photo finish, and then Jane Hennigan's double as a true freshman. Yeah, that's a lot of big news. A lot of big news for the NCAA. That DQ should have been a DQ. I think maybe. I'm not sure. I feel like it's kind of close. There was a lot of contact, but like in an indoor race, like there's contact. I feel, here's the thing. I feel like indoor or short track, whatever they're calling it now, should be the primarily watched format. Just because it's like it could fit inside an arena. You could get a crowd. There's no bad views. You can make a crowd that's suitable for this size that an indoor, that a track meet can bring in. I just feel like the scale of it, you're not trying to fill a 30,000 seat stadium. But that as a side note aside, I enjoy that it's cramped. I enjoy that, like, this is not how they want to run. You're kind of making people uncomfortable. Like they say in like the creative space, constraints are what pushes your creativity. I feel like constraints are what make the racing exciting. And so like, just like I wouldn't want to watch a marathon where, like, even if they could find a way to run a marathon where everyone had their own individual lane, I wouldn't want to watch that. It's the fact that it is about positioning. I like it. I'm not saying there should be more bumping. I'm not saying that there should be more falls and like crazy stuff happening. But I feel like this is like where the sport is, and I kind of feel like that's I like it as is. I do like that they are like tamping down on some people's like finish line maneuvers and some of the hand gestures that people are doing when they're coming across the finish line. I feel like, yeah, I don't really need some of that, but like some of the jockeying for position, I feel like that's part of the race. And so I don't know, maybe that's not a great take, but maybe it's because I'm giving this take in relation to what I thought was not an unusual amount of contact, it seemed like to me, in the 3000. I don't know. And then the women's, for the women's race, I really thought that Sadie Engelhart was gonna find a way to pull it out. She was just chilling out, almost towards the back, just letting all the action happen around her. That was the race went out so slow for them, not for me. For me, I'd still be it'd be crazy fast. But like, there was like a 2:30 800 for the mile. And then there was just a lot. There was also a lot of jockeying in that race too, because some people were running wild. Some people were running all over the place. But she found a way to hang in there. I was like, she's got to be waiting for something. I feel like she waited a little long, but she was able to come in third. Almost had second. But yeah, that was also a really good race. I didn't get to see any of Jane's races though. Senior Grandmaster Runner Dan says, I think you should be allowed to elbow a little in indoor track. I mean, I don't know about like throwing elbows is the right thing, but like, like people are running really fast in short, tight spaces next to each other. Like you have to be able to protect your position. Like if someone comes crashing in from outside and says, I'm getting from lane 2.5 to the rail, like, and you're here, I should be able to hold you out of there if you're coming like right at me, shoulder to shoulder. You know what I mean? And so like, I don't know how else you can do that. Like, are you supposed to let them bowl into you and knock you over first? Like, I don't know. I ran on an indoor track like 30 years ago at this point. Yeah. So I don't have the greatest amount of personal experience to draw from on that, but I just feel like, I'm not saying elbowing should be allowed, but it's not a no contact sport, All right. Nikki and Princess says, I don't know if it's too late, but I ran my first marathon at the LA Marathon. I finished with a 7:18. Heat affected me really bad. Still worth a PR bell? Absolutely is. Congratulations. That was a hot day. That was a really hot day. And that would have definitely made it a lot harder. When I ran LA Marathon several years ago, I remember being shivering cold. It was lightly raining right before the start. And I was so cold. I was absolutely frigid. Not the coldest I've ever been because I'm a winter runner, but I was really cold at the start. And we had mild temps throughout the day. After the race, I wanted to put on a hooded sweatshirt, So like that is kind of more normal LA Marathon weather, at least from what I thought. My experiences and from other events, runnings of the LA Marathon that I've seen but not personally experienced. So you got a really warm year, but congratulations on making it all the way through. Great job. All right. Adam says, I demoed the Mach 7 yesterday. First Hoka I've liked, and I don't like rockers. Yeah, that's interesting. I did do the Mach 7 review that came out today. Guys, I don't understand what Hoka is doing with it. The only difference between the Mach 7 and Mach 6, I mean, I think maybe I don't think I over minimized it, but between Mach 6 and Mach 7, same foam, same stack heights, ends up being the same weight, at least in terms of what mine weigh out to be for my US men's size 9. And they feel pretty much identical to me. There is a slight change in the rocker position. So the rocker starts later. It ends up feeling like you have a little bit more foam in the forefoot. If you're a 4-foot runner, noticeably different if you run in them one after another. But like if you ran in the Mach 6 like a year ago and then put on the Mach 7, you'd be like, I don't know, this is the exact same shoe. So I think maybe the change of rocker position is something that made it more enjoyable for you, Adam. But I'm guessing you didn't like the Mach 6. Oh, Siba says, this is my first time I managed to connect live. I'm always late. Hi, Mike. Hey, what's going on? Hopefully you made it back to Chile safely. Guys, Siba is someone that I've met at a couple of Adidas events now. And he is out of Chile, Santiago. And he told me that, I saw him in LA, and he told me that it took him 15 hours of travel to get to LA, which is so far. That's how long it takes for like us in the US to get to Kenya, for example. Because I had to fly to Frankfurt and then transfer from Frankfurt to Nairobi. I can tell you, traveling that far for that long is a lot. And so hopefully you made it back safely. I'm glad to have you here. Thanks for coming. All right. Frank says the Mach 7 review, TLDR, quote unquote, biggest disappointment ever. I mean, yeah. I don't like to go negative on shoes. And I was going to make it longer to try and explain more and talk about the subtle differences that I think the Rocket Precision does. But I ended up like just deleting a lot of it because I'm like, this doesn't need to be a long video. It's basically the same shoe. For some people like Adam, you might notice the difference. That could change it, whether you liked it and didn't like it. But I think for a lot of us, it's just going to feel really the same. My meniscus hurt says, Hoka's priority seems to be on trail shoes. Yes. But I also am like, I don't know, like what's happening, right? So they've introduced new models like Skyward X, Skyflow. They have deprecated some, like the Rincon. And now what's going on with the Mach 7? I have no idea. They got the Mach X3 and then the Mach 7. Like, I just, there's not a lot. It's not making sense to me. I don't see the vision yet. And I've been asking them about the vision. And so maybe I need to like ask them, I'm like, all right, give me the whole vision. Cause I'm not seeing it. So I don't know. I answered someone's comment about it. I'm like, is it that they don't have enough people for all these important shoes to be taken care of properly? Is they don't have enough budget? Like they're spending all their money on Cielo X1 3.0. They're spending all their money on Mafate and Tecton X. Like what is it? That's where all the money is. And so now it's like, all right, we need a shoe that we can produce like cheaply and make a bunch of them. Which there's nothing wrong with having those in the lineup. But I'm like, is the Mach 7 the one that should be doing that? And I thought that's what you were doing with the Clifton, So I don't know. Or do they just not have? Is it they don't have the vision for it? Do they know they need to do better but can't because of manpower? Do they know they need to do better but they can't because of money? Or do they not know that they need to do better? I don't know which one it is. None of those three is really great, but at least the first two are fixable. Sega Dreamcast says, I felt the Mach 7 was the slightest bit firmer than the 6, but it still feels good for the price. I would say feels good for the price. I don't know, $145. I'm not sure, but I will agree that the Mach 7 feels slightly firmer than the 6. And I don't know, like it's so slight to me that I'm like, is this just a batch variance or did they actually tweak the formula? And so I'm like, if we get a Mach 7 a year from now, is there a possibility that it'll feel like the Mach 6 does? Or is it they were like, make it a little bit more firm because we want to tweak it a little bit. And maybe just they didn't tweak it hard enough, So, but again, that's one of those things where like I want to talk about it, but this feels pretty much the same as that video. I just didn't go into it. But I agree with you that there is a slight difference in the firmness of it too. Martha says, my over 40-year-old niece time qualified for New York Marathon in the New York City half yesterday with a time of 1:35. Speedy. I'm proud of her, and she's doing Boston this year too. Well, that's awesome. That's very cool. Congratulations to her. Is it this one? Yeah, that's the one I want. All right. All right. JJ Sienna says, I enjoyed the Mach 6. All this banter is crazy. Here's the thing. I also enjoyed the Mach 6. But since the Mach 6 has come out, we saw the Evo SL, Rebel version 5, Velocity Nitro 4, Hyperion 3. I mean, we also have much more expensive shoes like Mega Blast. We have shoes like the DV8 Nitro 4, or I guess it's just DV8 4 now. So it's like, you can't do an upper update when everyone else has changed around you and then expect to still have like the same excitement, I wouldn't want people to pay $145 for a Mach 6 in 2026 either. So that's kind of like where it's coming from. It's a good shoe. I think it should be priced like a Rincon now at this point. If they sold that for 120, then I'd be like, nah, but for 120, okay. You know? So. Yeah, Tayak says the Puma site still says Nitro. You know what's funny about that? And I haven't checked it, but all the materials that I said was like, we are very specifically this year taking the Nitro out of the DV8-4. So I was like, okay. Makes sense, cleans things up quite a bit. And so in all the videos that I made about it, I tried to specifically remember that's, okay, no more Nitro, just DV8-4. But then also, anytime I see like Puma socials, they'll have like Connor, who's one of the product guys, talk about it, or any of the other product development team people talk about it. They always put the Nitro in there, and I keep I keep wanting to comment and be like, hey guys, corporate called and said like the Nitro is not officially in the title anymore. But I'm thinking, oh, maybe they filmed this before they made the decision. Kind of like how some Hoka shoes still had One One on the midsole even after they had announced a decision to not have One One in the name anymore. There's just like a time lag from when things get announced and when things were originally kind of created. But I don't know. Maybe they're just not figuring it out. I don't know. All right. Senior Grandmaster Runner Dan says box. Okay, let's get to the box for today. All right, here's the knife. Okay, so this is a shoe that I had to ask for. Not that it makes that big a difference, but it was sent to me and not one that I bought. But it is from ASICS, and this is Magic Speed 5 in Vital Green and Carrier Gray. Carrier Gray. Now, I am a little congested, so we'll see. This is very green. This is like St. Patrick's Day appropriate. It's not Kelly green, but look at this green. This is very green. And I don't know if there's a bottom part Carrier Gray? Is that what the gray is? I can't tell. A lot of times when there's one color next to each other, to me, it kind of affects it. So this kind of looks like minty green on the bottom. And then very green up top. And I'm not sure I'm going to be able to really smell this. Yeah, I don't really smell anything on this. I mean, I smell other things. So it's not like I've lost my sense of smell. But I guess it's been dulled a little bit. But look at some of these very pretty flourishes down here. Okay, number one. Look at this outsole. It's not just the hole punches that we've seen in a lot of Metaspeed, but it's like holes within honeycombs. So it's a very nice, intricate design that I find a little... I still like it. You know how sometimes when I see a lot of holes, I get that thing when you look too close at a strawberry and it grosses you out because it looks like you're looking at someone's pores? It's not quite there yet, but it's getting close. Yeah, so that's cool. There's like... And it kind of looks like there's these little chevrons in there that are going to, I think, help with a little bit extra grip. I think maybe that's the idea. And then look at the carbon fiber plate. They've etched a little design into, I think this is a carbon plate. Maybe you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. But they've etched a little design, some diamonds into that carbon plate. So there we go. Look at that. All right, we've got FF Leap on the top, and I believe this is FF Blast Plus on the bottom, right? Is that how this? Yeah, tryptophobia. I don't have tryptophobia, but I understand people that have tryptophobia. You know what I mean? Yeah. Fred Nava says the bottom green is Wrigley Spearmint, so it's kind of minty. Okay. Al says with this shoe Schlancha. Did I say that right? I don't think I did. But cheers in Irish, I think. Johnny Dodger wants to know, is Magic Speed 5 the new Takumi? And I don't know. I haven't tested it yet. But I had a meeting with ASICS about Mega Blast, and they were like, "Any other questions?" I'm like, "Can I ask non-Mega Blast questions?" They're like, "Sure." I'm like, what's going on with Magic Speed? I think my question was more specifically like, it seems like, I was like, "Are you guys happy with the execution of Sonic Blast?" Because it seems like Sonic Blast and Magic Speed are inverted. Like, Magic Speed 4 should have been, or like what Magic Speed could be, should be what Sonic Blast is, and then Magic Speed should become more like what Sonic Blast is. I feel like they're reversed. And I don't know if that question confused them, or they didn't want to answer it, or maybe they just wanted to answer something else. They wanted to clarify what they're doing with Magic Speed. And they're saying that Magic Speed is going to go more into kind of the Metaspeed family. And so kind of like another kind of racer. So I think that's where they're taking it. So it's a lower stack height. I still think this is pretty tall, but like they're going to start lowering the stack height and make it more just race oriented. So I think that's right. And I was telling them that makes a lot of sense to me because they don't have the meta ride anymore. Which one was the one that was really low to the ground, had that pink upper that was really gorgeous? That one. And so that one disappeared, and then this one seems to kind of fall into that place. So then you have like the marathon distance racing shoes, and then you have like the shorter distance racing shoes, which this still feels kind of a bit daily. Although this upper, I don't know, it's kind of like an old Metaspeed upper. And so we'll have to see. I'm going to try to use it as a tempo shoe, but I had a conversation with them like, ever since like super foams started lasting more than like 150 miles, tempo shoes, like the category, I think it's still really strong, but the demand for that kind of shoe is kind of like vaporized. Like we don't really talk about like the training companion shoe anymore, right? That was a big deal. Every shoe had a training companion. Like even Ultra had one, the Vanish Carbon, and then the Vanish. What was the other one? There was like a Vanish Carbon TC and RC, right? So like every brand had the idea of like a racing shoe and then a shoe like the racing shoe, but for training, like Vaporfly and Zoomfly, you know? And so I think that's a shoe that like we just don't need anymore because I'll just do my workout in my carbon plated racers. And so like I think that genre is like disappearing. The demand for it is disappearing. And so to take what Magic Speed was in that category and move it more into like a low stack height racer like Takumi, I think to me would kind of make sense. But then again, like how much is the demand for Takumi? I don't know. I'm not sure. Runtime says the shoe looks good. I think it looks really nice. I thought the Magic Speed 4 upper felt a little bit bland to me, although I did like the bold yellow that mine is in. The Magic Speed 3 also, I mean, Magic Speeds has always looked nice. They've had some real identity crises, though. Every year it's like a completely different shoe. You know? Dimitri says that Magic Speed 5 is another great shoe for warming up for your spikes. Okay. Leg destroyers on 1 hour runs. That's kind of how I felt about like Magic Speed 3, but I think they don't want this for 1 hour runs. You know what I mean? So we'll have to see. Christing says these look like compared to the old SC trainers from New Balance. Do you think so? No, I don't know. I don't think it's going to be like the old SC trainer. The old SC trainer, because the SC trainer. There was an old SC trainer, right? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, I don't know. Because like the new SC trainers, like SC trainer version 1, that was like super tall and squishy. I don't think this is going to be super tall and squishy, even though there's FF Leap on the top layer. I have a feeling it's going to feel a little bit more planted, a little bit more firm and responsive rather than squishy. Vince Inman says, ASICS, no matter the shoe, always blasting. I don't know why that's so funny. Mark Johnson says the Sonic Blast is going to end up on the side of a milk carton. Do we think that there's not going to be a number 2? I don't know. Yeah, I guess I can ask ASICS about that. I don't know. All right. Yeah, Mark says that New Balance had the TC and RC designation. Did Ultra also use those abbreviations? Ultra had something, because remember there was a carbon plated one and then a nylon plated one. And I think there was abbreviations that differentiated between the two in terms of the name, and then there was different, one was red, one was yellow. So, yeah. Says, Magic Speed should either go low stack with carbon or more flexible with nylon. Yeah, I feel like, have they tried not putting a plate in it? I can imagine if you're ASICS, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, you guys have been yelling at us to put a plate in the Nova Blast for years, and we finally put plates and stuff, and now you want us to take it out. But for some reason in my head, I had it that Magic Speed 5 was FF Leap only. There's like a super thin layer of just FF Leap. I don't know why I thought that, because that's obviously not what this is. And then I was like, no, it's got a plate in it. So I thought maybe it was a really thin layer of it with a plate in the middle. I could see like, I don't know that it even needs a nylon plate, because the thing about how much I like Mega Blast. But imagine if you put that in a low stack configuration. I think maybe you put in a little bit of a plate in it to keep it from being too neutral and hurting my feet, like Mizuno's Hyper Warp Pure does. But yeah, I mean, think about it as like, I don't know if this is, but I don't know how much demand in the market there would be for it, but like a Takumi Sen or a Zoom Streak. Wait, is it Zoom? No, Streak Fly competitor. Something along those lines. I think that there is room in the market. I think there's room in the market for it. I think that the shoes are different enough, but I don't know. Again, when it comes to racing a 5K, are most people just going to put on their Meta Speeds? Like if I weren't a shoe reviewer, I'd probably, yeah. Why wouldn't I wear my Meta Speeds? They're 7 ounces. They're less than 7 ounces, or however much they weigh. I think they're around 7, under 7, 6.7. So yeah. Yeah. Karen says, ASICS needs a collab with an audio company and make sneaker speakers. Blaster blasts. Oh, okay. Ron Tommy said it's the Vanish Tempo and the Vanish Carbon. Okay, so it wasn't abbreviations. But yeah, they were both Vanishes. That's right. And Adam says another shoe you can compare it to would be like the SC Pacer. Yeah, I loved SC Pacer version 1. That was a good shoe. My daughter raced her first track races in that shoe. But again, one of those shoes that for me, it's like a little bit too low to the ground, a little bit too aggressive. Same thing with Streak Fly. Am I talking about the right shoe? The Nike one with the super aggressive plate. Streak Fly, I feel like, Takumi Sen got a little bit more cushioned, so that way people are running half marathons, and some people are even running marathons in them. But I feel like there's a small subsegment of the market that wants it, that people that aren't running marathons. I don't know. Maybe there isn't, because look at what happened to the Pacer. It's not anything like the Pacer anymore. SC Pacer version 2 is very confusing, but very different. The Saucony Sinister, they're not making that anymore. I don't know. Yeah, okay. Cosmopino Mike says, Meta Speed Tokyo is under 6 ounces of size 9. Yeah, so it's so light. Like, why couldn't you use it for a 5K race? But what if you're not a marathon runner and you would not want to have that for a marathon race? What shoe would you want to do road races in? I don't know, probably still that. But can Magic Speed get there? Will Magic Speed change enough to get there? Because I'm even looking at this is still a long way away from being like a Saucony Sinister competitor. So It'll be interesting to see what this one is, and I wonder if this is one of those like this is a transitional model to get to where they want to go with the Magic Speed. Because I got the sense that what I'd said about Magic Speed and like the direction it wants to go is a direction and not we're not at the destination with Magic Speed 5. So maybe it's still like a tempo shoe, you know. So All right, my meniscus cert says, Soko, who gives in first? Nike updating the ZoomX or Hoka and their EVA love? Well, I mean, the ZoomX has already been getting updated and in ways I don't like, right? Because, like, isn't some ZoomX not all PIBA anymore? So I feel like ZoomX is fine. ZoomX, like, to the extent that ZoomX is PIBA, it's fine. I don't think it needs to change much. I do think that they take a lot of liberties with it. For example, making it more and more of a blend rather than being just PIBA, and not all ZoomXs are the same. So, like, I mean, the ZoomX that's in the Vaporfly is not the same as the ZoomX that was in the Invincible, you know? But, like, that being said, I feel like there's another side to this coin, too, where I haven't tried the new Pegasus. I don't know if it's even out yet, but I've seen it. But I don't remember. I think it was probably Believe in the Runs post that I was looking at. They're saying it's 300 grams. 300 grams for a daily trainer? That's way too heavy. What is 300 grams? I forget what 300 grams is. Grams, 2 ounces. 10 and a half ounces. That's like old school Adidas territory. Remember when Adidas shoes, the daily trainers were all way over 10 ounces. And for a while, they just stopped telling you what the weight was because they were hitting 11 ounces. Like if I'm remembering that fact right, that the Peg 40, whatever number we're on, 2, is going to be 300 grams. That's a lot. And part of me says like, guys, like just give it the same setup that like the Vomero 15 had. It was like, ZoomX and Cushlan. That was a great combo. That was probably the best Pegasus that I'd seen in a long time, and that I've still seen in a long time. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this new Pegasus, the 300 grams, is worth every gram. But I don't know. You know. But the point is, sometimes old technology, when it's working, and like people like have to change it because the audience has pitchforks out and we're grumpy. Like I don't think Boost needed to go away like it did. I just think they needed to change how they were using it. But everyone kept saying Boost was dead, and so that like Adidas had to move on and give us new weird stuff. Although we eventually got Hyper Boost Pro out of it, so okay, we got to the right place eventually. And I think that Cushlan, like Nike kept trying to run away from Cushlan. I was like, Cushlan works. Cushlan is good. Just don't give me an all Cushlan shoe, but like you can put it in there as a carrier foam, and I think it'll work for me. You know, like, but they kept trying to do other like Cushlan 2.0, all these other things, and I was like, you guys had a good thing. I'm sure it was cheap to make. You know, like it's fine. Just don't say it. Just say carrier foam. Don't tell us even what it is. And they weren't for a while. But then like with Hoka and the Super Critical EVA, I'm like, it's not working. It's not working. So like, you got to give us something new. So sometimes, I don't know, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. But like you just got, I think the art of it is knowing when you have to listen to the angry mob and when you don't. That's hard. You know? Johnny Don says, Magic Speed is your teen cousin who has a new whole identity every summer break. Every summer, it's a new shoe. Mark says, what's New Balance doing with the trainer and pacer? Hopefully the foams will be as fun as the Elite version 5. That's a great question. Like, I have no idea what they do. I mean, I don't talk to New Balance a lot. I don't get opportunities to talk to New Balance a lot. Like I have conversations with other brands. They don't make themselves available to me like that. I guess I haven't asked for them to like, hey, can I have a meeting and talk to you guys about Future Vision? But like, for example, they've never invited me to like come to their booth at TRE. So like, okay. So I only know about the shoes that come to me. And one thing I have told them is like, can you not send me shoes like 6 months early? It's just too early for me. I forget about it. And then the embargo date hits and I get caught flat footed and I feel bad. So, I don't know, maybe I've given them the stiff arm unintentionally, but I have no idea. Here's one thing that I think that they could do. I think that the trainer will continue to be kind of like their not really a training companion to the SC Elite, but kind of like the SC Elite for, I think, and I don't think they're going to turn it into the long run shoe that I want it to be, like a fuel cell version of the Balos. Not that anyone loved the Balos, but I saw the potential in the Balos. I'd love it to become like a really great long run shoe, a training companion to the SC Elite, if you will. But I think that it ends up being kind of like the shoe that I recommend to a lot of my bigger, taller friends, because it's a little bit more dense. It's a little bit more stable. It's a shoe that I think that for people that want a shoe that's less aggressive than a lot of the carbon plated shoes on the market is a really great marathon race day shoe. I think they're going to kind of keep it there. So I'm going to keep reviewing it, finding it be firmer than I want. Feels like it's kind of tall for no reason. But I think for people that want to be in it for a long time, it's going to be great. I think that I think they should just keep it where it is. I have a feeling they're selling a lot of them. I'm not sure. For the Pacer, I could see it going the unfortunate direction where a lot of brands are like, let's make an expensive racing shoe and then a more expensive racing shoe. Like Rocket X3, CLX 1 3.0. And so I could see it doing something to become more expensive. I'd prefer to see it as something that like they've done some thoughtful thinking about it and are like, well, for the runner that's more forefoot oriented, the SC Elite, although the SC Elite strikes me as more of a midfoot striker shoe, but the last version got a little bit more like, oh, I think this is a little bit more for forefoot strikers. And then the Pacer being something that's a little bit, for me, feels like stabilized, kind of a Metaspeed Edge, Metaspeed Sky kind of thing. That would make more sense, but I could see them making like all right, let's make an even more expensive SC Elite and we'll call it the Pacer 3. It'll be our uncompromising Elite shoe. Don't worry about the Elite shoe. That's also uncompromising, So that's kind of what I think happens. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay. Matt Byer says the Peg's 300 grams is in a size 10, not the standard size 9. So realistically, we're looking about 280, 285 for a size 9. That makes me feel a little bit better. What does that translate to? What's 280 grams? That's a lot lighter. That's 9.8. It's still high. It's 9.87 ounces. But the Peg has never been the lightest shoe. So, okay. All right. Joseph Carter says, I really like the Balos. The MSRP was insane. MSRP. Yeah. It was insane. Yeah, I agree. It was just way too expensive for what they had in there. But it gave me it hurt my foot. But when in the miles that it didn't, like I could run like 2-3 miles in it, and then I was like, this is like poking my foot in a funny way. In the miles that it didn't, I was like, this is really nice. But then it poked my foot. Sega Dreamcast says New Balance has a new bladed shoe coming out relatively soon. An updated one or just a whole new model? Interesting. Okay. And Matt Barry says Cushline in the Rival Fly 4 is awesome, even with my parent close to 200 miles. I don't think I've ever run in the Rival Fly. Interesting. See, I feel like Cushline. Some foams just can continue to work. I don't know. I need to think about that more in terms of how I can figure out which one it is. When foams need to change and when foams don't. All right. Sega Dream has a new one. Is on the, okay, it's plated, right? So it's going to be on the fuel cell side. $200 range. Okay. Interesting. That'll be fun when that comes in. Whenever that comes in. Jonathan Jonathan Disney says, any plans for Boston yet? I just booked a hotel and flights the other day. So I will be in Boston. Nothing's announceable yet, but keep Sunday morning open. So there'll be some time. Oh, the thing that I don't know if I can announce this one yet. Also, pencil in Saturday afternoon if you want to go plogging, picking up some trash while you go for a little jog walk. This is a relaxing way to spend an afternoon. So those are some things that I have kind of like loosely in the calendar. But there's some shakeups. Just to give you some scuttlebutt, there's some shakeups happening in the group run space in Boston this year. Just two, but you guys will figure it out later, if you guys don't already know. But anyway, so something is a little bit different than last year. But I feel like you'll see all the same people, just be at different places this year. All right. That's going to be it for today, guys. Thanks, everybody, for your patience. I know we had a late start today and some technical difficulties, but I appreciate you guys. Stay safe in those snowy conditions out there, everybody. And I'll see you Thursday, where I'm pretty sure we'll have a completely different season upon us. All right, guys. Thank you.